What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Abe. This is Elite Dangerous, and I hope I didn't say that last video was EVE Online, because it's not. This is Elite Dangerous. It's very clearly Elite Dangerous. Either way, we're here to do the second tutorial training, the second training simulation. So we'll go into training simulations, and we'll get into docking and travel. Now this, if I'm remembering correctly here, let's see. I had somebody who's watching one of these videos, and I believe, yeah, that's right, Alberto Lopez. So Alberto Lopez commented that, bro, I need a very detailed beginner's guide. Like, I need to know what key you press as you press it, because right now I'm like stuck on the ground and it looks like I'm kind of moving but not fast at all, so he needs help. So Alberto, this is for you. So docking and travel is probably where Alberto is having some trouble, and that's one of the big initial hurdles that you need to overcome in order to really get into even flying your ship. So don't worry about it. It's a common complaint and common issue.
Commander,
For me, anyway, it was.
I need you to do a cargo run for me.
Okay.
Ordinarily, I'd take care of this myself, but I'm not on the best of terms with the security forces over in Azeban City, so you're gonna have to take my place. When you're ready, return to the surface to take your ship out of the hangar. I'll keep in contact with you as you make your way there.
All right. So again, they're telling you what to do in the middle of the screen. It'll likely move up to the upper right. It says use S and space. So those are not the same key, which is the same way that they've sort of talked about it before. W and S will move you around the menus in your ship. So if I pull up this other menu, W and S moves over there. A and D will select things. E changes tabs. And that's pretty much true for all of your little windows. So I hit 1 to get over here to look at my navigation. 2 takes me up into my communications window. I hit escape a couple times to get out. If I want to look down into the ship, I can do that. And again, it's like Q and E to tab between helm, fighters, SRV crew, whatever is down here. Number 4, for example, takes you to the window on your right. These are all kind of standard and default. So it's always WASD, Q, and E to navigate these. So if I've got modules in here, W and S to go up and down, spacebar to select. So if I hit escape, all right, so what they want me to do is to select down to return to surface and then hit space. So I could hit launch, and if I hit launch, it would do the exact same thing, only instead of just bringing me up and letting me sit there, it would bring me up and then immediately let go of the landing clamps, essentially. All right.
Okay, you're ready to launch. Take her out, Commander.
All right, so I'm not going to go straight to launch. What I am going to do is I'm going to go to 4. Let's see here. I'm going to Q.
This cargo won't deliver itself.
Yeah. So I've got 4 units of palladium in my inventory, which you've seen here. And under ship, let's see. External lights off. In order to get into there, to like sort of mess around with these options, I would hit space and then hit A to move over. I might not even have to hit space. I could just move over. So silent running, all of these various things. What I'm looking for is pre-flight checks. All right, I just turned that on. I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm saying I'm going to turn this on and see if it works out. It might not. It might not do anything because I'm in a training scenario here. But let's give it a try. So let's try to launch, and I've got flight checks on. So by enabling flight checks, you see this pre-flight checklist? It makes sure that you know all of what you need to know in order to like basically fly your ship, right? So in order to clear and actually launch, it wants me to pitch up, right? Pitch down, roll left, and I'm just moving the joystick here. Roll right, throttle up, throttle down, landing gear test, pretty sure that's my landing gear. There we go. That's good. Joystick 5. And it tells you, as you're tapping these buttons here, what button you've pressed and what is bound to. Secondary fire. So that one's next target, weapon deploy test. Let's see. Subsystem. Okay, it looks like those aren't weapon test. Okay, so we know that that's the target button, so I pressed that, and it really just coaches you on it. Primary fire, UI focus. Let's see. I don't have anything bound to it except for left shift, so I'll just hit that. And then weapon deploy test. I'm having trouble here, so let's see. We'll go into options. We'll look at our controls, and it'll probably be weapons. Deploy hardpoints. And now we can sort of click through like we did before. Nope, that's joystick 12. And figure out what button is what. So I'm just pressing a key and see what comes up here. So I know that it's joystick 5. I don't know with all of these goddamn buttons which one is joystick 5. So is that 5? No, that's not 5. Is that 5? No, that's not 5. And man, there's just too many buttons. So deploy hardpoints. Could swear. Nope, that's joystick 7. That's joystick 9. It looks like 10 is unbound, so it should be joystick 5. That's joystick 2. And that's joystick 5. Alright, so I found it. So alright, so now I know what key that is. And so it's like when you're looking at this, yeah, I want to discard. When you're looking at when it's telling you, oh, you know, you use this weapon deploy test and you don't know what that key is on your thing, that's a way to go and find it. So I know now that that's my weapon, and now it detaches
Ship
me.
is released. You can use your vertical thrusters to clear the landing pad.
Alright.
By the way, try not to end up as wall decoration on your way out.
Okay. There we go. So, what you just saw there was flight assist. So now I've got 5 minutes to clear the station. This is just training, so if they kill me because of it, then they kill me because of it. But you launch up, and what I would recommend, and what I have found, instead of like immediately throttling forward and pulling back, it's much easier to have some hat switch or something that you can press up on that gives you straight vertical motion. Right? Up, down, right, or left. Right? So I'm going to come down and it's going to yell at me. Well, maybe it's not. But I'm going to go left. I think this is where I came out of. Either way, it's easiest when you're taking off to be able to just fly straight up and then control your ship. Now, again, on the vertical and the horizontal, that's great. The yaw, if you have an easy way to just turn yourself, that will really help in the docking. And I've also found that if you have the ability to, like, just, if you hit W, for example, I think is the default, it just pushes you forward. It's just a little manual thrust. It's not me pushing the throttle forward. I've got a button that's assigned to that and backwards. It's the same one that I've got assigned to my yaw, so it gives me a little bit of fine control. I've got a hat switch that goes up, down, left, and right. So I basically keep it manual, so to speak, while I'm docking. Once I get near this docking thing, you know, you can bounce off of it. And bad things happen.
You're clear of the access corridor. Your ship's still mass-locked by the station.
But
once you get beyond 5 kilometers,
you can
you'll
correct.
be able to make the jump to
right, your
supercruise.
shields will take most of the boost, but by manually controlling it, it's much easier to take control of it. Alright, so now that I'm out, I'm using my throttle. I'll retract my landing gear by pressing the same landing gear button. And you see that little square in the lower right corner that says landing gear, cargo scoop, mass lock. So if your landing gear is down, no, you're not going to let me put my landing gear back down? Alright, well, If your landing gear's down, it'll be blue.
Clear of mass
If
lock,
your
Commander.
cargo scoop
You're good to charge up your frame shift drive
is...
now. Just hold on tight.
I'm not remembering. Alright, so anyway, once you clear being mass locked, you're allowed to enter jump, which is what they're basically walking you through here. And so it's saying, okay, hit F11 to enter, to charge the FSD. So I know what button that is, so I just tap it on my throttle, and it takes some charging, and away we go.
Great. Your ship is in Super Cruise. This is the best way to hop around a system, but you need to go a little bit further afield. Start by plotting a route for Iranen on your
Alright,
left-hand
so
nav panel.
now they're walking us through seeing these other panels. So we hit 1, like they say, and there's only one place to jump. So you've got filters here. It looks like they've filtered it out for you to make it simpler. And there's the system that they want you to find, which is Iranen. If you hit spacebar on it, you can lock destination,
You won't get anywhere without punching in a destination
lock and
first,
engage,
Commander.
or go to the galaxy map. So they just want me to lock it as my
Great.
destination.
Now that your target is locked in, you're clear to make the jump to hyperspace. Point your ship at the target and charge up your FSD.
And it's pretty clear. So if I hit 1 again, that pulls me out of that little window. Or if I'm over there and I hit escape, it'll also pull me back. So, alright, so now we're trying to find our exit vector to this system. I'm following the little target icon. That doesn't usually exist. So instead of that, you see that little round circle down just to the left of my big radar here. There's like a little crosshair in the middle of it. It's between the galaxy thing and my radar. And so there's a little blue dot. So if I go down, the dot moves up. If I yaw to the right, the dot moves forward. And that's basically showing you where your target is. So if it's behind you, it'll become an open circle, right? So that's now a little bit behind me. And if I turn around, I'm just trying to get that dot solid and in the middle, and that'll tell me where my target is. Okay, so I had used free look to look down and give you a closer look at that, but here we are. Once we've got it centered, or even before we do, so let me unalign from it. If we hit the same button, if we hit our button to get into, to jump to that system, it charges up, as you can see, sometimes faster, sometimes slower. And if I'm not aligned to where I'm going, it will tell you to do that. Align to target destination, and at which point, the moment you get kind of close enough, then it'll jump. Now, what you need to be aware of also is, no matter when you're jumping, when you jump to another system, don't just sort of take your hands off and just enjoy the ride, because it's going to drop you right in front of the sun, flying into the sun. And if you don't
Welcome to Iranen,
you'll
Commander.
throttle back,
Just don't show any support for the Federation, and you should get on fine with the locals.
yeah. So
My
now
contact is over at
they even
Azimuth
told you
City.
to do that,
You're
maneuver
on
to
a
avoid
waiting
conclusion
zone.
or
This guy
collision.
gets a little twitchy if things don't run like clockwork. Go ahead and select the
All right, so we're
station
looking for
on the nav panel,
Azaban
then
City,
use your
not to be
compass down the left
confused
of your
with
radar.
Azkaban,
Orient the ship towards the
but
destination.
Azaban City. Again, we typed 1, and it took us over to the navigation. We go up to Azaban City. We lock the destination. Press 1 again.
Approach can be tricky, Commander, so you'll want to keep an eye on your distance, speed, and alignment at the bottom left of your cockpit display.
All right.
Once you're within 1,000 k's from your target and going less than 1,000
So,
kilometers per second,
it's
you should
really
be safe
easy
to
in
drop
this
out.
game
If you keep your speed in the blue zone, you'll
to
be less
rocket
likely
right
to
by
overshoot your mark.
what you're
But
flying
if you
to.
do,
So when
you
she
can
says the
always
blue
loop
zone,
back
we're
around
talking
and try
about on
again.
your throttle. You see that little stretch in the middle that's blue? If I'm below it, my little meter turns orange. Now once I enter the middle of it, then it's blue. If you leave it in the blue and you take your hand off the throttle, it will adjust your speed for the most part appropriately to make it so that you're going to be where you want to be. Now as you approach this and as you get closer and you can see the planet, usually stations are orbiting something, a moon or a planet, you want to come at the station from the planet side. Usually the opening on the planet or on the station, which you can see there, that little mail slot, is facing the planet. So if I want to make sure that when I pop out of jump drive, it's facing me and I don't have to fly all around this thing trying to find the opening, come at it from the planet side, and at very least it'll be visible. So it takes a little doing to get used to, but alright, you notice that thing is still in the blue down there. Now I can throttle it back a little bit, but I haven't had to manage it very much. And once it gets under 1 million meters and my speed is at an appropriate level, you can see on the left there they're both in blue.
Disengage Super Cruise.
Then I can tap the same button and exit Super Cruise. So
You made it.
I have to be within 7.5 kilometers to request docking. I know that. Well, let me stop myself.
Tend to get upset if you start trespassing.
This, you see the little prongs sticking out of that face? That's the mail slot. That's the entrance. That's where you have to get yourself going so that you can fly down into it. So once we're under 7.5 kilometers, which you can see here, 7.3, I go over here to 1, and then I Q or E over to contacts. I hit spacebar, and then press D, which moves me off of the city. And there might be other ships around that you would also contact or communicate with. But I would select the place that I'm going. I'd hit spacebar on request docking.
You're clear for approach, Commander. Just don't forget to deploy your landing gear.
And then it's up to me to get myself in there. So by deploying landing gear,
You won't be putting that ship on the deck without your landing gear. I'd
it
recommend
slows
you
your
deploy
ship
it.
down. It gives you a lower maximum speed. So it doesn't matter if you're up or down. The
Be careful
green
passing
lights
through the access corridor,
versus
Commander.
red,
And try to avoid head-on collisions with exiting ships. That cargo needs to get
usually
there in one
you're
piece.
supposed to enter on the green side, and people should be exiting on the red side, I believe. I don't care about that. And if my hands are not on my controls, the stations rotate. They orbit and they spin in order to do so, and they create gravity inside and blah blah blah, all the sciencey and physicsy stuff. So if you don't have it set, if I look over here under let's see, thankfully I've got pre-flight checks turned off. I've already done that. Flight assistance, rotational correction. Sometimes the ship will rotate a little bit to correct, but alright, so it says proceed to landing pad 43, and then it gives you 10 minutes. So again, I like to stop myself and then just manually use these little manual controls. Okay? So as I'm entering, sometimes you'll see it, like I can see 43 right down there and I know where it is.
You'll want
But
to
if I'm up
regulate your
here
speed as you approach the landing pad.
and I can't see
And
anything,
pay attention to the docking assistance display.
that little dot in the targeting reticle that we talked about below will show you where your landing pad is. So if I pitch down, now I'm facing it, and I can again push myself towards it. So my landing gear is already down, which I needed to do in order to do this. You'll get so notice how I'm like moving forward and then sort of laterally moving to align myself. And once I come in, I level myself out and just bring myself to, whoa! So, too fast, you can bounce off of the landing pad. You want to be careful. And then you want to just kind of align yourself with the circle and ease yourself down.
Nice job. I might just be able to depend on you after all. I'll be calling on your services again, I'm sure.
And I think
Next time, Commander.
that's pretty much it. It's a very involved process, and I think it's one of the things that draws people to this game is how involved and how detailed it is. You know, you got to bring your landing pad, your landing gear down at the right time. It throttles your speed as though you were an aircraft, which is silly, but still, you know, having to align yourself into the system, find your specific landing pad, ease yourself in properly. Like, it's, the only word for it is that it's involved. So I enjoy that, and when that's the sort of thing I'm looking for, this is the game that I come to. So hopefully that helped. Alberto, let me know if you have any questions about that. Go and just beat your head against that training tutorial a bunch of times until you feel confident about it, and then go get in your ship. Because if you don't get off of the landing pad fast enough and out of the system, the station will blow you out of the sky. If you accidentally move your ship over another landing pad, the station will get angry with you and eventually shoot you out of the sky. There's all kinds of things you can do to screw it up. So practice, 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 and then when you're feeling pretty good about yourself, go on in and try it with your real ship, and good luck. Worst thing that happens is you start a new character and try it again from there. But there's probably no reason to do that. Your ship is insured. You don't have a lot of money. It may even be free at this point. So just get in, give it a try. Let me know how it goes. If you can, record yourself crashing in all of your glory. And don't be ashamed if you're bouncing off of the landing pad. It's a common thing, especially if you come to the landing pad and land. It's the right landing pad, but you're facing the wrong direction. I do that all the time. But you'll learn and you'll get used to those things. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this interesting and useful, and I'll catch you in the next video.